A critical companion Routledge edited by Michael Strasberg presents a series of review of some of the major contemporary theories of religion. The chapters are surveys of the theory and as such cannot deal with any of them in great depth. Despite this fact, the book should be a useful starting point for students interested in theory and a way for scholars of religion to get their bearings on some of the latest theory. More skeptical of the possibility of grand theories, whom Stolberg referred to as anti-theorists, will probably be less satisfied since many of their concerns are frankly not the concern of this book. However, at least one contributor, Hodge, wondered whether general theories about religion are possible at all. The vast majority of the theory come out of the cognitive science of religion. The remaining few could be divided into social system perspective and rhetorical approach that argue for a clear religion or atheist agenda. Strasberg is correct to conclude that the volume offers ample food for further thought. 292. As such, the book is highly recommended.
One item that I have learned from the chapter 1, this most basic sense, theory in religious studies refers to the myriad conceptual tools used to see religion. Observing, describing, interpreting, and accounting for anything as a religion posits the category of religion. This category is invariably inform-laden by a theory of what can be communicated as religions. The specificity of religion, the origin of religions, the functions of religion, and the structure of religion are the four main questions for theories of religion. Many more religions-related questions can be raised. Consider issues and problems such as religion's meaning, cause and benefit, development, evaluation, and heritability. I have identified the four issues raised above as key questions for any given theory of religion because, taken together, they will make sense of religion as a whole by accounting for first, religion-specific modes of operation, if any; second, the conditions for their emergence, if any; third, the ways in which they relate to the domains, if at all; and fourth, the mechanism by which their regularities can be said to fit together, if they can be said to be. Theorizing is understood here as an act of reopening the issues rather than achieving closure. If the study of religions is not a major producer of religious theories, it is our professional responsibility to discuss them where they exist.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Shamimi binti Jaafar, metric number 1201885, and I will present about chapter 4, and the title is From Need to Violence. According to Walter Burkert, in search of a philosophy of the continuity of the living, religion is connected with the propagation and maintenance of life, with procreation and sexuality. Burkert understands religion in its relation to death, specifically in its relation to killing. Burkert understands religion as that which cannot be verified empirically, being manifest in action and attitudes that do not fulfill immediate practical functions, but which nevertheless manifests itself through interaction and communication in two directions, toward the unseen and toward the contemporary social situation. Religion involves a claim for priority and seriousness, a characteristic that makes it vulnerable to laughter and derision. In the end, religion is to be understood as a hybrid between biology and culture, developing through adaptation to the landscape provided by the evolutionary process, an approach that can be pursued with help of the concept of cynic complement, as well as by making use of the dual inheritance theory postulated by Robert Boyle and Peter Richardson. As pointed out in this chapter, Burkert's theories of sacrifice and of religions in general grew out of his work with Greek and Near Eastern culture.
Chapter 5. Some theories consider belief the heart of religion, like others ritual, but over the past century and a quarter, there has been a general shift of emphasis from belief to ritual. A ritual is public, whereas belief can be private. Ritual is certain, whereas beliefs can waver. According to Rappaport, the toppling of religion by science and declares that religion must continue to play a central role in human life, with which for him it is consistent. In ritual and religion, ritual does almost everything, not least things that others will automatically attribute to belief. Classical theories of religion like E.B. Taylor and J.G. Fraser view ritual as the application of belief. It is clear that ritual as a form of action or structure may have an in a trivial sense inevitably has social and material consequences. Chapter 7. Religion as Communication. Rituals respond to the final indeterminability of human meaning constructions in that they depict and reproduce a range of meanings that are deemed beyond human disposition. Communication themselves are set forth as the fundamental components of society and sociality. In some of the others, the consequences of observing society as consisting of communications and of analyzing communication as a synthesis of translation is a major concern because religion in general and ritual in particular. Religion also was obviously important enough and systematic enough to warrant a volume in the series dedicated to the most important social domains of modern society. Its status as communication will seem to follow almost automatically.
The first item I get is in why government go away suffer from at least two fundamental faults. The first is that fail to consider how the laboratory setting is an artificial environment with the potential to produce artificial results in his own area expertise and result. For example, Berkeley notes that people who serve as subject in sleep laboratories tend to have dreams with less fear, aggression, and sexuality than people who are asleep. In a home setting, the lab evidently has a homogenizing effect and people dreams, making it less likely they will have a rare unusual type of dreaming experience. When we apply this lesson in this case at hand, it's mean that what you discover in the clinical environment of SPECT machine, intravenous line and radioactive dyes might not occur anywhere else except a lab. Now that they have studied any attempt to locate the transcultural and transhistorical essence of religious experience bump into the by separating out invariant core from its varied and various expression perennialist theories.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Afif bin Rahmat. My number matric 1203118. Today I would like to review a book which is the title Contemporary Theories of Religion by Michael Stosterberg, and I want to focus on the chapter 9 and 10 regarding what I had learned from this topic. Chapter 9 is about religion as the unintended product of brain functions in the standard cognitive science of religion model. One of the central principles in religious cognitive science is that religious thinking and action are enabled by developed cognitive skills that are shared by all people and hence may explain certain phenomena. Religious depictions have recurring patterns. One crucial element is this, that the human intellect is not viewed as a universal problem solver but as a collection of subsystems that perform content-specific tasks. In fields like folk biology, folk psychology, and nerve physics, the mind works differently. Religion is founded on cognitive processes that blur the lines between these ontological regions. Next, chapter 10 is about religion as evolutionary cascade on Scott Atran in Gods We Trust 2000. The items that I had learned were consistency is not only a scientific virtue, it is also scholarly ideal, indeed rational exchange. Theories and evidence are not pre-assembled jigsaw pieces, rather they are components in a greater jigsaw. Understanding the ramifications of collaboration is necessary for figuring out how to connect the outcomes of various scientific and social science research. The majority of us accept Darwin's theory of evolution as well as the fact that thought cannot rely on miracles. A trend demonstrates how much is implied by these generally accepted ideas. Religious thought would not be feasible if it were not already fully elaborated, regardless of the significance of culturally given material to religious thinking.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Ahmad Farhan bin Abdul Rahman, number matric 1203132. Okay, so next for my part, I want to review from this book about chapter 13, which is the title is Boundary Maintenance, Religions as Organic Culture Flows On. Okay, so this chapter critically examines Thomas Aaron Tweed's Crossing and Dwelling, which is present an account of religion based on the terms of motion and home building. Most physically, Tweed defined religion as responsible for positioning religious practitioners temporally and spatially in the body, the homeland, and ultimately the cosmos. Tweed also focuses on the many ways in which religions both enable and constrain corporeal, terrestrial, and cosmic crossings. Drawing upon insight from a variety of natural and social sciences, Tweed surveys data gleaned from the world's religion in order to develop cross-cultural patterns. The assumptions behind his theory, however, revolve around the actual work religions does and how this work is conceptualized as different from cognate terms such as cultural and ideology. There also exists an inherent tension in Tweed's work between local, observed religious idioms and the search for universal trends that tend to level the particular.
Okay, now I will review about chapter 14. This chapter, it is theory of religion as myth. For most of the 20th century, theory in study of religion was marked by two main approaches: theological or philosophically informed phenomenology and social scientific theories of religion. It was in the last decade of the century that theories inspired by the natural science, particularly evolutionary biology and cognitive psychology, become popular. Contemporary evolutionary theories of religion oscillate between two opposing interpretations, one of them exemplified by the works of Pascal Boyer, and apparently to date the majority considers religion a natural phenomenon that is a byproduct of the evolution of the human brain without adaptive functions. The other one, represented by David Wilson, sees religion as a product of biological and cultural evolution with immense adaptive value for group survival. For Roux, religion is of utmost importance for the survival and well-being of the human species. His theory may thus be seen as the
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amir Al-Afiq bin Abdul Ghaffar, matrix number 1201923. Today I would like to review this book, which is Contemporary Theories of Religions, and I want focusing on chapter 15 about New Aesthetic Approach, the Cognitive Science of Religions on Daniel Dennett and Richard Dawkins. The things I found out from this chapter was, I hope Richard Dawkins and Daniel Dennett had been more cognizant of the groundbreaking insight in the cognitive science of religions. It would have been nice if both authors had reviewed the negative aspect of religions in broader perspectives, namely as the negative sides of being human. Religions do not have a monopoly on tribalism, fundamentalism, terror, violence, bigotry, ignorance, pride, intolerance, murder, rape, child abuse, war, and so on, although they know how to use this force. Secondly, There is a lot of interesting literature on such things as the cognition of fundamentalism and memory, segregation, and false belief. There are also important topics left untouched by Dennett and Dawkins, such as the evolution of consciousness, which Dennett had written on earlier, on the development of person and self. And now, I want focusing on chapter 16. The thing I found out from this chapter was, Rushbrough presents his reader with two distinct theories of religions, one that lays the foundation for the necessary religious prerequisites and another that challenged the validity of outsiders' perspectives of theory. Others may feel a contradiction, at least in a methodological and philosophical sense. The deductive side handles the reliability of inductive projects. Secondly, Rushbrough's second theory of religion is not in a position to state anything about the origins of religion, but his deductive theory comes very close to a functionalist agenda. He makes a number of interesting statements and inferences about the structure of religion.
Okay, next, last but not least, I would like to review the last chapter in this book, which is chapter 17. The title is Back and Forth by Michael Stausberg. Okay, the widespread rise of atheism may be challenged for theories based on the idea that religion is a natural phenomenon, and the phenomenon usually subsumed under the umbrella term secularization, mostly identified as a European phenomenon, have served as a point of departure for early sociological theories of religions. At the same time, sociological theory itself has since been an agent of secularization. A meta-theoretical comparison of theories of religions would need to discuss not only their value judgments regarding religion as positive or negative, but also their implicit or explicit assumptions regarding such fundamental issues as anthropology, cognition, culture, evolution, history, meaning, and society. All such issues, some of which are discussed in various chapters of the present volume, would need to be addressed by an overarching grand theory of religion, assuming such a theory could or should ever be attempted. One crucial issue that needs to be discussed further is the various levels at which a theory of religion should be operative. Although not exactly addressing this concern, Stark and Fink move in a similar direction by making an attempt to analyze religion on three levels of aggregation, which Ellis called the micro, meso, and microeconomic of religion. Rappaport is an example of an attempt to establish ritual as the generative principle of religion and liturgical orders as establishing a meta-convention. Rushbrough places interventionist practices or liturgies at the core of religion. Ryu exemplifies a theory that places myth as the cornerstone of its edifice, which is itself, as analyzed by Seward, constructed as mythic. Most, if not all, contemporary theories of religion carry theories of ritual and mythic in their baggage.
Research methodology is a very important thing in conducting research. The results obtained are also highly dependent on the methodology used in a study. Without a clear methodology, the data obtained will be questioned, and the conclusion of the study can also be questioned. So, based from this book, Contemporary Theories of Religion, A Critical Companion, the author Michael Stausberg used the methodologies such as research methodology and the qualitative methodology.
Comments overall on this book. From this book, we can learn what meaning of religion is. Maybe we already know the basic of religion such as Malay, Hindu, Chinese, India, and others. But religion can be as communications, rituals, superorganism, and others. The contents on this book full of knowledge that we as students didn't know. It makes us more interested, want to know more about religion through chapter by chapter. Besides, All the scholars that authors specify have many amazing words and knowledge that can make us thinking outside from our brain.
In the conclusion, theories of religion can be divided into chapters, which are broken down by the degree of cross-cultural comparison and the weighting of the relation between myth or belief and ritual or practice. Strasberg distinguished between theories that engage or are receptive to other theories of religion and those that are not.